It's very rare that you unlock a hidden cheat code when it comes to self-actualization. I've been on this journey for almost a decade, and there is such few things when it comes to unlocking a almost superpower when it comes to 10xing your progress. Whether that's to do with healing from the past, planning for the future, or just being comfortable right now with who you are and what you are in the present without sacrificing hard work, directionality, and having to sacrifice goals, which so many people do. So, what is this cheat code? What is this hidden hack, which seems to be the thing which has, at least for me and my clients, 10x their results to get from A to B? Whether that's starting their own business or saying hi to that romantic interest which they want to say hi to, or maybe it can even just be being able to be an emotional anchor for their family, where in their past, what's happened so much is they just get talked over, belittled, shouted at, because that's just kind of how the family dynamic goes. And that thing is unconscious healing. Unconscious healing, unconscious work, shadow work. Now, that's probably not going to come as a surprise to most of the people who are watching this right now. And if you're new, then hello, my name's Aaron. I run this YouTube channel called Unconscious Flow, but I need to give it a little bit more nuance. I need to give it a little bit more depth. Now, when I say hack, when I say this hidden kind of secret, first of all, what I mean by that is it's a hack in the sense of once you discover this, your whole framework, your whole way of looking at life is completely changed. So, what it doesn't mean is it's not something where you can just do in 2 minutes and suddenly you're going to snap your fingers and you're going to be a totally different person. That's not what I meant by hack. Hack in terms of way of thinking, not in terms necessarily of ease of implication or ease of practice. Okay. Because the principle that I got from one of my big mentors, Pierre, the path of most resistance, is still present so much, especially when it comes to the journey of all of my male clients, right? And I work mainly with men. It's not to say that this isn't present for my female clients, but what it is to say is for whatever reason, that's how society is set up, the way that we project onto men, the way that we project onto women. We project onto men in a different way that we project onto women. So also there's societal expectations and cultural expectations which shape us differently. And for whatever reason, at least when it comes to the Western world, when it comes to men, there's a much more of an expectation that they have to go through hard things in order to become a man, right? So we're talking about the ritual to manhood. This is usually, at least it was a lot of the time, achieved in history when it comes to going to war, enlisting in the army, owning a property, developing land, all this kind of stuff, right? And that's still carried on for a lot of my male clients. It's still carried on in the culture, okay? So when it comes to the path of most resistance, it's three things. Again, this is from my mentor, Pierre. Whatever's the most boring, whatever's the most difficult, and whatever is the most intimidating. So that's the path of most resistance. However, this is not the point of the video. I'll go into that into another video if that's something that you guys are interested in. If you are, then please leave it in the comments below and I'll do a video series on the path of most resistance. This is still present in a lot of the things that we have to do. Okay, so it's present in shadow work, it's present in unconscious healing. Okay, it will be boring, most likely it'll be difficult to learn at the beginning. And also when it comes to working one-on-one with someone, which is something that I advise you do, whether it's with me or someone that you trust, it will also be intimidating because it's forcing you to expose the most vulnerable parts of yourself to somebody else. Most likely something which you have never done before. That's why it's intimidating. It's boring because after you get past that initial nervousness, that initial excitement, it also fades into just something mundane, something boring, something you just have to get done repeatedly. Okay. And it's difficult because also it takes a little bit of time to get your head around what this is that we're doing. So when I say the hack is shadow work, I'm not just presenting you the hack and then leaving it there. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail now and actually tell you, well, what does this mean for you watching this? I'll give you an example. Let's say there's somebody living a life which they're kind of okay with, but it's not their real passion. But due to societal expectations a lot of the time from parents about what they want to do. So I have a lot of clients, particularly from kind of a Western background or an Indian, Chinese, Asian kind of background, where the standard has been set for them to be doctor, lawyer, chemist, engineer, all this kind of stuff. And if they don't live in that life, then they're not going to be accepted as much as the family because their family expects those kind of things from them. Because due to culture, those jobs are looked at as and seen as very respectable. And also, in a cultural sense, families use their children to show off to other family members. So if you can say, my kid is a lawyer, to your brother or your sister who you didn't never really like that much, and you can one up them, then all the better. But as you can see in this example, the person who's really losing is the child. Maybe they don't want to. Maybe when they're studying for exams and they're getting really good exam results when it comes to software engineering, all they can think about is playing the piano, okay? And performing in front of people, busking in front of people in the middle of Oxford Street. Maybe it's to do with they can't stop imagining what it's like to draw some art, express themselves fully, or maybe to open a boutique coffee shop, or to become a digital nomad. And their job isn't really something they care that much about. It's just something that gets the bills paid and they can go and travel. So much of what we do is dictated by culture, whether that's the culture that we grew up in terms of country, the culture of the city we grew up in, the culture of the family we grew up in, and the culture of the friends that we grew up in. So much of what we do and what we want to do is dictated by that, as well as expectations placed on us whilst we were very young by usually our caregivers. Now, why am I saying all of this? Sounds like I'm kind of going all in a lot of different directions. Well, it is coming to a point, and that point is the only way to break free of the invisible chains of expectations is through deep unconscious healing. If you have a belief that I'm only good enough if my job earns X amount of money, or if my job gets me X place in the social hierarchy because I'm seen as an upstanding pillar of society, or maybe even I'm only as good as my wealth and that can only attract the kind of partner that I want, or my looks. I have to go to the gym. All of this stuff, if left unaddressed, does not go away. You have to get to the core root, which is why I have a free series here on YouTube. I'll link it below, Practical Guide to Shadow Work. And I'm also doing a video series at the moment, which has already been completed. I'm not sure if it'll be uploaded, called How to Absolutely Annihilate Your Negative Beliefs. I would also going to link that below. I'm just using this as an example to illustrate how much of our decisions are not actually our decisions, because there's cultural expectations as well as individual things placed on us, individual expectations placed on us by our parents. Now, this is to add some color to the picture that I'm painting. But what are you now supposed to do with this picture? Well, what this picture does is it moves you from maybe living in ignorance to a place of wisdom. Now, what we have to do from wisdom is we have to act on that, okay? If we can see how we have been guided, shaped by things other than ourselves, it's now time to check in with yourself and listen to yourself. So I'm going to give you an exercise that another one of my big mentors, James Tripp, who's one of the best conversational hypnotherapists I've ever seen or worked with, especially in the UK. And there's this example of a head, heart, and gut process. Okay. What this process is designed to do is to help you find out what you truly want from your situation, from your life. First, we start with the head. We ask ourselves if there's a problem. And when I say when there's a problem, I mean this. I'm listening to Aaron, or maybe I've heard it from someone else, and I truly feel like there's something there. When I say something there in terms of there's something that's not quite right about the life that I'm living. Doesn't have to be material at all. Doesn't even have to be like some big emotional distress, but it just feels like I'm not fully living the life that I want to. Now, you ask your head one simple question. So attention is on your mind, right? You go, what does my head know about this? And when you ask yourself that question, you'll get a ton of different answers. You'll get like a lots of conscious babble. Okay. So you ask yourself again, what does my head know about this? And then it will take you a little bit more time because you'll have to start thinking about things again. Because what will come up first is just conscious storylines. Oh yeah, well, I have to do this and the money and it's a good job and I don't want to quit while I'm ahead and all that kind of stuff. Then you ask it again. And then you keep on asking it until you get to a place where you cannot give any more answers. And usually as a value hierarchy, The answers that come later are closer to your authentic answer because you're actually having to go into your internal experience and truly see what your head, what your mind thinks about the situation you're in. When you've exhausted this, you move to the heart. For those that are not so heart inclined, like I was when I first began, just do the best you can. If you can bring up a feeling of love, perfect. If you can't do that, just do the best that you can. What is usually helpful is you think of somebody who you have true love for, not a romantic love, more like a platonic love, and then that can kind of get you more into the emotional state that you need to be in for this. And your heart says the same thing. You ask your heart the same questions, and you keep on asking that until it's exhausted. Okay. And like before, the answers that come later are more of your unconscious speaking. Because at the beginning, we just have so many conscious storylines at the surface that we need to just speak those out and then leave them. And then last one, you shift your attention to your gut, like that place where you get that gut feeling, that intuition, and then you ask the same series of questions. So now you have from hopefully the deepest that you can get, at least on your own, without somebody there guiding you, everything that your logical mind is saying, everything that maybe your more emotional, heart-led intuition is saying, and then the last one is a body sensation, your body intelligence. So you have three separate, nuanced pieces of perspectives and opinions, and from this, you'll be able to get a big, intricate picture about how your life is actually looking and what your unconscious is actually saying about what you should do as best you can. And then from there, my friend, it's up to you. What do you want to do? What is the kernel of truth? What is the nugget of truth in each of these perspectives that maybe you don't have to make a big change now? You don't have to quit your job or do this or do that, but at least get you stepping along the path. So it brings me back to the topic of this video, which is why shadow work is such a hack, because it allows you to use all different parts of you, all different versions of yourself to come to a very nuanced and complete plan of action. And it also exposes you to go into how you're actually constructing your reality, whether it's with beliefs or ego wants, or maybe someone's giving you a shadow here or a shadow there. So you can actually see that the life that you're living or the place that you are is not actually a result of you. It's a result of all of these different influences influencing you right now. And when you see that with wisdom, you're able to instantly take power back into your life and do what you want to do what you're meant to do, if you want to believe that. But it's not a hack in terms of it's just easily given. You have to go and do the work. Like with all of the stuff that I'm giving on this channel, you have to go and actually try it and then come back to me and then give me questions on the YouTube channel or set up a call with me. I have my one-on-one link below, which would be much, much more effective, much, much faster for your growth. But if you're not ready for that, you can just comment on my video and I'll either give a really detailed response, written response, or I'll do a video response to you. But you have to do the practices first. Otherwise, the belief around not being good enough is not just going to go away. The belief around having to make X amount of money to be valuable is not just going to go away. The belief that you're not a confident person doesn't just go away by talking to X number of people and by exposing yourself and doing speeches and doing Toastmasters or maybe talking to the cute girl at the coffee shop or whatever. It doesn't go away with that. It can help. It can be exposure therapy. It can be all of that good stuff. But if the core seed, if the core unconscious root is never dealt with, it just gets worse and worse and worse over time. So this video is a bit more of a rant, less of a information-based video. It's more supposed to be to those people who really do feel like they want to take this practice, people who do want to take this practice more seriously, but haven't quite had the wisdom to be able to see where this is leading. So the thing that I want to leave you with is as follows. If you can fundamentally change what you believe about yourself and what you believe about their world, going from negative to positive, how do you think that will impact the entirety of your life? This, when it comes to progress, it's not just like learning a skill, it's about fundamentally changing your outlook, your perspective, and your personality from the ground up. So it is quite daunting and it's very humbling. It's very humbling work. But with this kind of work, this is what allows you to become that idealized person that you have in your head. Now, obviously, we don't want to use that in a way where it makes us feel not good enough as we are right now. However, just doing a 30-minute meditation, practicing some affirmations in the window, walking a bit more confidently, that's not going to get you where you want to go. That stuff is good, but it's just symptom level. We have to go deeper. We have to go deeper as to what's driving your behaviors right now, what's driving your thought patterns, what's making you think in that way, what's making you get reactive in that situation. That's the level of depth you need to go for too, if you want to truly see the kind of change that you want in your life, the kind of transformational change that self-actualization has promised you. And this is the way to do it.